Welcome to the home practice how-to. Finally, I'm getting to this and hopefully it will be helpful. You get home practice sheets each week that look just like this, and I'm going to go over each part of them in this
I'm going to
video.
show you how to practice this part, the new concept and sample words part of the home practice. This list is meant for students to practice reading and or spelling. Some families want to do the first few that they have their child read it, and then the next few have their child spell it. The key for the reading piece is you want your child to say the sounds and then blend the word together if they don't know the word. So for example, in this first word, your student would say flag, right? We want to emphasize paying attention to each letter and the corresponding sound. Now for the spelling piece, there are lots of different ways that you could practice this. One way is just using a simple whiteboard or pencil and paper, and you would just say the word to your child, like the word is flag, and then your student would write the word and say the sounds as they write it. Flag, okay? Another way that students like to do this is with a Say It, Pop It, Graph It, Spell It board if you have access to a Pop It. And if you are interested in one of these boards, I can print one for you, and I just have it inside of a erasable pocket. So for this, your student you'd say the word, grab, and then your student would pop the sounds in the word, and then we will graph it here, the sounds that you just said. And the last step is to spell it on the line all together. Grab. And then you would just continue down the list and do the next word is snap. And notice how each time I write the word, I'm saying the sounds as I write it. For the irregular words part of the lesson, you want to have your child both read and spell this list, and you'll notice those hearts, just like in the description, tell you that these are the parts your child has to learn by heart because the sound and the symbols don't match. So for example, in the word said, you could have your child read the word said, and then what you're going to do is have them spell it without looking at it. So first they'll say the sounds in said, s, e, d, and then they'll start to write it. So the first sound in said is s, and for that part, the symbols and the sound match. And then I'm going to skip to the end. The last sound in said is d. And I know the sound and the letter we write match. But that middle part is the part we have to learn by heart. We hear an eh, which is usually spelled with an E, but that's not how we spell said. So we have to learn by heart that said has A and I together in the middle to spell said. I'm going to show you how to do the word work chain part of the home practice, which is right here. This is what you will use these file folders that I sent home with everyone for. And as your student learns new sounds, we will add extra things here. But basically what you do is you take the first word that is on the list and you will tell your child to make the word. So I'll say, make the word flag. So your student will pull the sounds up in flag. And then you'll say, what's the word? The word is flag. Then I'll come back to my list and you see that one part has changed. So I will say something like, change the g to a p. So your child will change the g, put the g back, and change it to a p. They'll find the letter, they'll put it back together, and then they'll read the new word, flap. And then you continue this process, okay? Change the to a s. So I'm gonna change the and replace it with a s, and then your child will read the new word, slap, slap. And then you continue on, change this to a k, so your child will change this and change it to a k to make a new word, clap. And then what you'll see is it has a new list, so what you'll do is have your child clear the board and then make the new word and continue on just like that. Hope this helps. For the sentences portion of the home practice, you can have your child read both sentences, spell both sentences, or read one and spell the other. If you have your child read it, they just read the sentence. But for spelling, you actually tell your student the sentence and they will write it on their board. So for example, you would say, Pam can snap fast. repeat it as many times as they need, and then the student would just write it on their whiteboard, on a notebook paper, whatever you have. Pam can snap fast. Pam can snap fast. And this is a great place where you can remind your student to make sure they have a capital at the beginning, they have punctuation at the end, spaces between their words. You can work on letter formation with this as well as the spelling. So this is a quick way to kind of check in on all of those things. And although this is not on the home practice sheet, I did want to include some reading on your home practice as well. So you'll have 2 passages each week. The key to these is to make sure your child is saying the sounds as they read, because all of the skills in the passage are skills we have worked on. So they should have the tools to be able to read those. You can do this in a couple of ways. A lot of times in group, we will partner read, taking turns at periods, and then have the students read it by themselves. And then after they read it a couple of times, they actually can illustrate the story. And what you're going to look for here is they get the key details from the story. Who are the characters? What are they doing? And it's a fun, quick way to check their comprehension.